What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports. It's been three years since I posted on this channel, and that's been too long. I've been wanting to make videos again for a long time, but with work and everything, by the time I would, get the script out, record it, edit it, and all that, the news cycle would be long gone, and then it'd be kind of no point in posting the video anymore. And so I kept running into that issue, and then I kind of just fell off altogether. But after this weekend of boxing, and I've been wanting to discuss boxing on this channel for a long time, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to make the video while I got the time. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to get it out there today for you guys. And so we had a I'm about to say very good, like good to great weekend, but it was a highly anticipated weekend. I wouldn't call it great. It was saved by the one and only #1 pound for pound fighter in the world, INOUE. And I'll argue that with anybody. Feel free to argue. You're wrong. But the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world is that guy right there, INOUE. But with that being said, we'll get to him in just a minute. We're going to talk about the Friday night fights in Times Square, which I'm not against the Friday night thing. It started fairly early, so I missed the Tatsumi fight where he fought Lavelle Whittington. I just didn't. I got to go back and rewatch it. I saw that he won. I can't really comment too much on that. And I was there just in time for the Teofimo Lopez Arnold Barboza Jr. fight. And this weekend was really hyped up for a long time. You had 4 stars in Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez all fighting on the same card. It was the first fight for Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney since their controversial fight when Ryan Garcia defeated Devin Haney. It was later overturned to a no contest. And so this weekend had a lot of build-up. It was a new event. It was a new style event. They were outside at Times Square. The roads were blocked off. They had to drive to the arena. I don't know how that felt, like warming up, and then you got to get in the car, drive however far, and then you got to, I don't know how that actually affected, how loose and how warm the fighters were by the time they got to the ring. I'd be very interested to see what they have to say about that whole setup. But as far as the fights, they were cool. But Teofimo Lopez defeated Arnold Barboza Jr. in a fairly dominating fashion. Teofimo Lopez probably looked the best out of everybody. He definitely looked the best out of everybody on this card. He looked fluid. He looked comfortable. He was having fun out there. He didn't put that knockout pressure on them per se. And so, they were, he fought like Teofimo Lopez, the one that we all know and love. And he looked really good. He really had a dominating performance at 140 to maintain the belt. And so I think he's moving up to 147. I want to talk about the 147 division as a whole coming up in just a minute. But I think Teofimo Lopez is ready for the jump. I think his boxing ability will carry him up into that division almost seamlessly. Devin Haney and Jose Ramirez. How do I say this? Because Devin probably won all 12 rounds. At worst, 10 out of 12 rounds. But it felt like he survived, if that makes any sense at all, because he never looked comfortable. He didn't really look like he wanted to box per se. He was kind of afraid to even have the concept of an exchange going down. He didn't seem comfortable with. Did a lot of movement. We already know Devin Haney's in shape. We know he can control the ring, and if you don't know how to cut it off, he could use the whole ring to his advantage. And this Devin Haney, when you get beat quite like he did versus Ryan Garcia, you always want to see how they recover from that. And usually, I was talking to one of my friends about it. I said, if Ramirez doesn't win this fight in the first 4 rounds, then I expect Devin Haney to catch his rhythm and just beat the all hell out of him, right? And he didn't do anything in the first 4 rounds, and Devin didn't beat the all hell out of him. He just kind of, I don't know what it was. Devin Haney didn't look terrible, but he didn't look like the Devin Haney we saw versus Lomachenko. He didn't look like the Devin Haney he looked like versus Kambosos. He didn't look like we have seen Devin Haney Regis Progress. We've seen Devin Haney put mitts on people, and I'm not one of these people that just kind of like to kick Devin Haney while he's down and stuff like that. So I was expecting to see Devin Haney catch a rhythm, not peak Devin Haney like versus Regis Progress and Lomachenko. No matter how you think that fight went, that I could see a case for Loma, I could see a case for Devin. In the moment scorecard, I had a draw, so that's why I could see either side. It wasn't a robbery. Robberies are like, if it's clearly one side and they give it to the other guy. So I hate when people call it a robbery. But Devin at no point looked good in that fight. And so I'm curious to see if he does another tune-up, because that was 144. Now he said next fight will be fully at 147. And so I'm curious to see if he does another tune-up, or does he try to take a title fight at 147. Then we had Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia. I'm a fan of both of these fighters. I didn't really care who won this fight. Rolly really probably needed this fight the most following his loss to Tank, his loss to Pitbull. Those were 2 knockout losses in the 2 biggest fights of his career. So if he were to fight Ryan Garcia and get knocked out in the 3 biggest fights of his career, it may be a little tough for him to find these kind of caliber fights going forward in the future. He is marketable, but you know, when you keep getting knocked out in these big fights, it does become fairly difficult to find, you know, to get these kind of opportunities. And so to see him put the belt on the line versus Ryan Garcia and really exposed Ryan Garcia's lack of any other ability to do anything, it was quite shocking, because Rolly kept his right hand high and tight. He took that left hook away. He kept Ryan's left hand active, and Ryan Garcia really failed to adjust in any way. He would throw the jab, he wouldn't follow it up. He wouldn't attack that right hand, you know, wear the arm out, get him to drop it, you know, attack the body to that side, you know, that way you can feint low and land high. He didn't do any of that. He just kind of was like, left hook's not there. Rolly. Okay, left hook's not there. Left hook. Oh, that's the round. And that's just kind of like, and there you can hear Derek James kind of telling him what to do, and he wouldn't do it. And so that's what I found fairly interesting about Ryan. I don't know if it was ring rust. I don't know if he just at some point you have to box to get that left hook open. I mean, I don't know if he, once you saw that Rolly was high and tight with it, and I was shocked with Rolly's discipline too. Never once did he drop that right hand. He had a game plan, he stuck to it. Make me do something else, and Ryan didn't make him do anything else. And so he didn't have to, and he won the fight. Great job, Rolly. Rolly looked really good last night, probably the second best performance of the night. And so hats off to Rolly. Great job. Congratulations on your win. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney too. If we base it strictly off the last performances of these two, you can keep it. But we're probably going to get that fight. It's probably not as big following Devin Haney's performance, even though he won, and then Ryan Garcia's loss and the way he lost also. So I mean, it'll be there. It'll have a lot of hype, but I don't think it's happening next for either one of these fighters. And so moving on to Saturday's Canelo Alvarez's events, we had Martin Bakole and Ife Ajaba. They had a draw, and that's probably the right call. I saw that fight. Martin had moments where I was like, he might want to show up and start doing something, and then he did, and you know that fight was properly scored. I could see that being a draw. I could see them running that back in the near future. Then Jaime Munguia versus Bruno Saris. Munguia really needed that fight. He needed it bad, and he showed up and got the job done. So hats off to Munguia, because I don't know what Golden Boy was going to do with another loss. I'm gonna be honest. He definitely needed that at 168. He keeps himself in contention. And so good job to Jaime Munguia. I expect to see some bigger fights coming down the pike for him. Then we have Badu Jack and Noah Michael. Okay, that I try. It messes me up every single time. And so Jack got the win there. It was a title fight at the cruiserweight division at 200 pounds. He maintains the title. And then that led us up to the highly anticipated Canelo Alvarez-Williams School fight. And I see a lot of people, even Shakur Stevenson, saying, well, if it wasn't Canelo, he'd have lost the fight. You know, he was really getting outboxed. Canelo. I couldn't really, because William School, that fight reminded me a lot of the Charlo fight, where he just kind of came to survive. He didn't want to exchange in any way. He just like try to get out of there. Like he didn't. It wasn't even like boxing per se. Like William School, I mean, I'm excited to see Terrence Crawford in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, because I know Terrence Crawford. That's going to be a boxing match. It's going to be a chess match. It's going to be Terrence doesn't have that fear of what if I get knocked out right here. I don't want to go too far in there because he might land that powerful body shot on me. I think Terrence Crawford will go there to prove a point, and it'll be electric. And so, not to just glaze over the fight that happened, but there's not much to talk about here. You could score it a lot of different ways. One judge had it 115, 113. One judge had it pretty much 9-3, and the judge had it in between there. So I mean, either way, I saw Canelo Alvarez winning. Just by how much is up to you. It's not really much to discuss for this fight, sadly. And this is just becoming a trend for Canelo Alvarez. You can see he's frustrated by it, and it's just not a good look. So he definitely needs this Terrence Crawford fight because the build-up's going to be amazing, and I think the fight will deliver. Win, lose, or draw for either fighter, I think the build-up will be there. I think both fighters are going to come to win, and we're going to see something really good, even though I wasn't a big fan of the concept of it at first. And then finally, INOUE saved the weekend. And I hear a lot of people talking about he gets knocked down, he gets touched too easily. That's because INOUE really has flashes of not flashes. He is an old style fighter. He comes to fight. He's gonna stand there. He's gonna exchange with you, and it's not like a school fight. A lot of people want fighters to stand there like they're in the school bathroom. We got a couple minutes before the administrator gets there. No, INOUE's gonna box. He's gonna stand there. He's gonna deliver his shots, and he might take one. He walked into one, and he's walked into one like that before. Not too many fights ago. He walked into it versus what's the guy's name? What's his name? Now I'm mad. I'm so mad I can't remember it right now. It's ruining my day. It was versus Luis Nery. There we go. It was against Nery. He walked into something very similar to that, and then what does INOUE do? He gets up, he makes the adjustments, and he stops the fight. He brings it to him. He dropped him. And he dropped Ramon, and then he finished the fight. What else can you want? What else do you want from a fight? It gets you the electricity. It's high skill. It's fast pace, and it gives the people everything they want in the fight. And he's not afraid to take the challenges. INOUE has moved up consistently and has fought everybody at every division, and he's beaten everybody at every division. Now, right now, he said he's not in a rush to move up to 126, which is understandable. He just got here. When you move up weights that fast, it can mess you up. I think I'm a big Shakur Stevenson fan, but I think he didn't move up fast to 135. But you can lose some of your pop at the next level, especially if you're not used to being at that weight, training at that weight and stuff like that. So take your time. INOUE, he's going to continue to fight the best fighters at his weight division, and I'm sure he'll move up in a couple of fights. So probably about a year or so, I expect INOUE to move up to the next division. I know a lot of people want to see INOUE and Tank. I don't know the logistics of that fight. I don't see INOUE jumping, what is that, 126, 130, 3 weight divisions to fight Tank. I don't see Tank coming down in any way, shape, or form to fight INOUE at a catch weight. And so I'm not sure we'll ever see that fight. I'm sure it'll be a huge fight, a lot of money, a lot of build up. A lot of people would love to see that happen, including me. I just know it's not a realistic possibility, unfortunately. And now let's get into what I want to see for the 147-pound division. And in this projection I have Teofimo Lopez moving up to 147 from 140, where he just fought. And Devin Haney said his next fight will be at 147. Garcia and Rolly are already 147. Boots is already 147. Brian Norman's already one. They already, the last 3 guys, Barrios, Ennis, and Norman, are all already champions at 147. And so what I'm thinking here is, with Rolly being the WBA regular champion and Shakaram being the mandatory, I think he's the mandatory for Boots. Will the WBA put Rolly, because he's the number 2 contender for them, versus Shakaram, and then the winner get Boots? I think that might happen. I know the IBF is pretty strict with their rankings. And then, so that made this complicated. And when you're mixed matching names like this with the 4-belt era, none of it really makes sense. And so, in my head, this is how I want it to go for everybody's next fight. Will it happen? No, absolutely not. And does it really make a whole lot of sense? Probably not when you put it under scrutiny, right? So for the WBO World Championship, I wanted to see Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. That's the WBO Championship that I want to see coming up. Then the IBF and WBA are both owned by Boots Ennis currently, And I want to see Boots Ennis take on Teofimo Lopez. I think out of everybody moving up in weight, I think Teo is the most ready for the top guy in that division. I think the top guy is Boots Ennis. I think Boots Ennis is ready for that kind of challenge. And so I do want to see what happens when Boots faces another boxer. Now, Teofimo Lopez is not a power puncher. And this is where I can draw a little controversy, because if you put Boots against a guy like Rolly or Ryan Garcia that has power, I think Boots is in trouble. Not because he's going to get outboxed, but because I think Boots gets hit a lot and he gets hit clean a lot. And he's been able to get away with it for so long that he may have built bad habits. And it only takes one punch from Ryan Garcia. Bam. You saw he stunned Devin Haney in the first round. Not even, I don't think it was a minute into the round. So Ryan has that flash speed and power. Rolly has the power. And so, you know, I do think those kind of guys can give Boots trouble at this weight class. And, you know, and he may be facing these guys coming up. And so, but I do have Boots Ennis versus Teofimo Lopez. That's the fight I do want to see. And then I have Mario Barrios versus Rolly Romero for the WBC World Championship. And so I know you guys are like, dang, people are cutting the line right now. Like, and there is a lot of line cutting. Outside of the IBF, I mean, nobody really has strict rules that everybody stands by. And so I think this is possible. I think the IBF Lewis Crocker may be in the way between Boots and Teo, or, you know, Boots may have some conflict of interest because they want to see Shakaram or Rolly Romero. They want to see that unify into one title. You know, that things can get a little complicated here when you're mixed matching names. And I did put in my next fight for Ryan Garcia, I want to see Lewis Crocker versus Ryan Garcia. I don't think Ryan should fight for a title because he lost. Everybody else in line won their fights, and if they're moving up and they're skipping the line, I think this is just what it's going to be. And so, yeah, what do you guys think? It was an exciting weekend of boxing. I did like how it was jam-packed. I was extremely tired going to work on Monday. I was really tired all weekend. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below about the 147-pound division and what do you think it looks like. And go ahead and disagree with the fact that INOUE Inoue is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.